So the Mexican government has released a new anti-drug advertisement featuring images of homeless people and open-air drug users in Philadelphia. The purpose is to scare Mexican kids from doing drugs. But why is Mexico using video from Philly? And what's the reaction there in that city? Let's bring in Jennifer Stefano, columnist for the Philadelphia Inquirer and a fellow with the Independent Women's Forum. Jennifer, you live in Philly. You experienced this. What's the reaction for people you talk to about Mexico using Philly as an example of what not to do?
Yeah, well, we're absolutely horrified by what's happening on the streets of Philadelphia, and it's no lost irony on any of us who love and care about the city of Philadelphia that Mexico is an enormous part of the problem, that there are cartels, that they allow illegal drugs to flow through the border into the United States and do not protect their northern border. Our southern border is hugely problematic. While I'm not against anything showing children the true devastation that is happening on the streets of Philadelphia, I would argue that the Mexican government is an enormous part of this problem.
One of the things I have here is call for number one, drug overdoses in Philly, almost 1,300. Fentanyl overdoses, 76% of all drug deaths. So, when you look at that ad, some people might think, well, is that a dramatization or is that exaggerated? But you've seen it for yourself. I mean, that's real.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Dana, I've driven down what's called Kensington, K&A, and I won't drive down to it anymore. It is one of the most tragic things that you ever see. The video is just a small part of what really is going on there. And this is the failed war on drugs, where we as the United States decided to criminalize a disease, addiction. We put the victims in jail, and we failed to go after the real problem, the cartel. And this is an example of a couple of things: the failed war on drugs, but also the total and complete totalitarian hold of the Democratic Party on the city of Philadelphia for the last 60-plus years. And also a George Soros-funded district attorney, Larry Krasner, overseeing this. There has been no solutions, no answers, and more lives lost in devastation.
I won't read you the whole quote, but Mayor Kenney of Philadelphia says it's not a good thing to see your city treated or portrayed that way, and he said that there's more work to do. You mentioned Larry Krasner, the prosecutor in Philadelphia. This just came across. I understand that there's going to be an impeachment vote in the House Judiciary Committee to see if they could get him out. Is that a realistic thing?
I think it's becoming more realistic, although the Democrats just took control of the House in Pennsylvania, so I think it is going to come and stall.
Right.
But I think there's a legitimate case to be made. It has been a bipartisan vote to move that forward before, so I think it still is possible. But it's remarkable to me that Mayor Kenney suggests there's work to be done. They've been in charge. Mayor Kenney's been in office. Larry Krasner's been in charge. They've been reelected. What are they waiting for? What are they waiting to do to solve this? This is the very fundamental issue. They promise and never deliver. And now lives and devastation are being lost. And by the way, there are many good people living in Kensington that have to deal with this every day. People lying on their stoops, children walking to school through the drugs and the carnage of this. It is the shame of the nation that this is happening.
There's just one other thing I want to point out, and I don't want to sound like we're just picking on Philly, but this is actually happening there. And to your point, the question is, when are they going to do something about it? Gas station shootings and robberies are way up in Philly. This call for number three, that there have been 69 gunpoint robberies at stations in 2022, up from 65 for all of 2021. There were only 20 gunpoint robberies in 2020. So what is happening at the gas stations in Philly?
Look, it's what the gas station, there's two things going on. Number one, it's one of the last places people must go to outside of their home. You don't have to go to a grocery store. You don't have to go to a mall. Those parking lots are not a sure thing for people, but people do have to go to the gas station. They usually pop out of the car. We leave it unlocked. Our phones are in the car, purses, wallets. And it's probably one of the last places where there's a lot of cash transaction as well. It's where people tend not to pay attention. It's easy target, easy prey. And once again, this shows, and I understand, I don't think you're picking on Philadelphia. And this is not a dramatization. This is the real life here, that because we have lawlessness in our city, thanks to the George Soros-funded DA, Larry Krasner, and an incompetent mayor, and a near chokehold by the Democratic Party, there have been no solutions and no improvement on people's lives. In fact, if you live in the city, your lives are worsening. The crime is worse, the murders are worse, and there's no safe neighborhood. There's no good neighborhood.
And it's a shame, because it's a great American city. Philadelphia is a great American
It's wonderful.
city. And I know you love it.
Wonderful.
Jennifer Stefano, thank you for being with us today. We'll stay in touch.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.